Hi guys, today we are going to talk about one of my personal favorite filmmaking tools, and that is the good old slider. It is one of the easiest and cheapest ways to really up the production value of your videos, and I use my slider almost all the time and I bring it to every shoot that I go to. So in this video we're gonna talk about ways to use a slider, the sliders that I have owned and tried out, so some different slider options in some different price ranges for you all to check out. So without further ado, let's get into some sliding, baby. Alright, so let's talk sliders. Now this is my slider of choice. It's the Rhino Slider EVO 24-inch and it's made out of carbon fiber for the most part. I also have the stainless steel 42-inch one, but I don't use it much because it's quite heavy, and this actually gives you just about the range of motion you need to get a nice slide. I don't really see the use for a bigger track, and if you need a lot bigger track you would probably go for a dolly anyways. But so what do you use a slider for? You will see a lot of YouTubers out there talking about their sliders and how they get that epic B-roll, and that is a really nice way to use a slider. But if you look at more narrative stuff, they will actually use sliders and dollies for their A-roll to do a push in on a character in a really dramatic moment, or maybe do a dolly out to reveal a bigger scene. There's just so many ways that you can use a slider. And speaking of that, let's check out some classic slider moves. So you can slide right, or you can slide left. You can do a parallax slide to get those really nice product shots. You can do a push in, you can do a dolly out, or you can even do the famous dolly zoom. And if you put your slider in a vertical mode, you can actually mimic some crane shots. And when you put a 3-axis stabilized gimbal on that vertical slider, you can start doing some really crazy stuff. So when Rhino announced that they were making the Rhino Arc II, which is a really cool piece of kit that I personally can't wait to try out, I thought to myself, since I already have the Rhino Slider EVO with the motor, that I could probably put a gimbal on my slider and come very close to that Rhino Arc II. And that is when I got the idea to do my FRANKENSLIDER. So when I wanted to upgrade my gimbal, I purposefully looked for a gimbal that didn't have a lot of sway. So the Ronin S, Ronin SC were pretty much out, because that would you would have a lot of sway when you start moving, so those wouldn't really work. So what I ended up with was the Zhiyun Crane 3, and just check this thing out. It's a really badass rig, and I get 4 axes of motion control, and also I get focus control and zoom control with those 2 motors. So it's a pretty badass setup. But with all these kind of Franken solutions, there are some big drawbacks. The Rhino slider will start before my programmed move on the crane will do, or actually the other way around. The Rhino slider is quite slow to start, so I have to time my Crane 3 moves just right to get them to sync up perfectly if I want to do like repeated shots. So with all that, and that is a solution that I think you could probably get for around 1300 euros if you really look and put the work in. But my friend actually presented me with a different solution that I got to test, and that is the Syrp Mini 3-axis kit. And I had to say that I was pretty impressed by this slider option because it's only about 1600 euros, and from what you get those Mini Genie 2s that are separate motors, so you can actually just buy one and have pan control, and in this setup you will get both pan and tilt as well as the slide. And what I think is really neat with this compared to my FRANKENSLIDER is that everything talks to each other over Bluetooth, so you can control it via the Syrp app, and once you've got it set up and working properly, it's really intuitive. So let's just have a quick look at what the Syrp does better than my FRANKENSLIDER Rhino EVO+Zhiyun Crane 3 combo. And number one, as I just stated, everything talks to each other via the app. It works just great. Number two, that it packs down really small. I mean, those mini motors aren't bigger than like this, and you can easily pack it down in your camera bag for when you're hiking, so that is really good. Now, my Rhino carbon slider is probably a bit smaller than the Magic Carpet or whatever it's called slider is, but it's not that much bigger, and you can still strap it to the side of your backpack. Number three, you can charge this with regular old USB-C power, and that is really nice because almost all cameras nowadays are powered with USB-C, so the only thing that you really need to bring to charge both your camera and your Syrp kit is like a big power bank. That is really useful if you might be hiking for days and doing like time lapses and stuff like that. I really enjoy that. There are like 4 different adapters, really only 2, but you get the drift with my Rhino sliders. That is something that the Syrp really has going for it. Number 4, and that is that you can extend the Syrp with another slider and just keep on adding it to your heart's content. As long as you have sliders, you can extend that to however long you want it, and that might be really useful in some situations. So that is it, you guys, for the Syrp Genie Mini 3-axis kit, and overall I would say that you get a fair amount of value for the 1600 euros that you have to pay for it. You have to go up to almost 2,500 euros to get the new and improved Rhino slider with the Rhino Arc 2, which does provide some more functionality, especially keyframed focus pulse, which is something that I'm really interested in. I would love to try that out, but like, if I want you guys just to take away one thing from this video, is that do invest in a slider and just put down some money to make sure that you got a nice sturdy one. I have some experience shooting with the iFootage Shark slider just as a manual slider. That thing is really solid, really nice, and when you put on the flywheel, it is super smooth even when you're just shooting manually with it, not motorized. And the same goes for this Rhino slider 24-inch. And as I said in the intro, you can really do so many cool things with a slider. We actually put a LED mat on this, and just check this shot out right here where we use the slider to sort of fade in and fade out the lighting of my FS5 that we did some like B-roll shots of for my first YouTube video. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, you know what to do. Hit that like button, Do subscribe to my channel if you want to see more camera gear reviews, videography and photography tips and tricks, as well as some photography philosophy. But that is it, you guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye.